Hey guys, welcome to a new show, Armchair Quarterbacks. I'm here with
Cameron Banks.
and
John Foster.
we're here to break down the fantasy news for this week. Guys, what do we have this week?
Man, it's looking like season of football is coming right up for us.
Mm-hmm.
Season, what is it, like the 18th season of this century? But fantasy football's been going on for quite some time. Everybody knows this is almost American pastime these days.
Right.
I know guys that used to do it just on paper.
Oh, yeah.
Right, scaling it out and whatnot.
Doing it live with the big whiteboards and all the charts. Oh yeah.
Now we have technology. We have fancy new apps and whatnot. I know we did our own draft. We have our own little team going on. Let's talk about some first round and like some first picks that you just must have on your team, man.
I mean, first round lock coming out of it. You're going around with the running back first philosophy. I mean, you're going to want to pick at least 4 to 5 running backs coming out of the gate. But for me, I mean, you're going running back one. I mean, you can't go wrong with Todd Gurley.
Man.
Cannot. I mean, the Rams are looking great again this year. Offensive line's looking good. Jared Goff coming into his third year. I mean, Todd Gurley is positioned to be one of the better running backs this year.
Yeah, especially with that really good defense that he's got right behind him. So no matter how it goes, that man's going to get his carries, and they're going to be able to carry their team, hopefully, to a playoff run.
Right.
I look at Le'Veon Bell. That guy's in a contract year. That man is going to be eating something greedy. So look out for number 26, the Juice. He's going to get loose for sure.
So you guys are saying that I did the wrong thing and I picked Aaron Rodgers. I should have looked at a running back.
Well, see, Aaron Rodgers has got a major contract.
It's
so
a good
I'm
pick,
getting
John.
beat up
It's a-
over
it's a-
here.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick. I mean, the first round, you don't really normally want to go with a quarterback right out of the gate. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a lock for probably almost 300 points cumulative over the whole season. So, I mean, he's not a bad pick in
There
the
you
first
go.
round.
And
but
then I got that guy Julio Jones. He can catch some footballs
another good
too.
one. Another
Yeah,
good one. I
definitely
mean,
another good one.
We're going to have to see a resurgent year out of Julio Jones. I mean, coming off of a so-so year. I mean, he's still number one target in Atlanta, but, I mean,
Right.
we're going to need to see some more from him. for
Yeah,
sure.
people like that. You know, I know you said you got Aaron Rodgers in the first round, which was a great pick.
Yeah.
But usually you see people drafting quarterbacks around the 5th or 6th round.
6 when it's
Just
a high top tier quarterback.
Yeah, just to give themselves some cushion because you want to get those skill players in there. You want an excellent flex player. I know for myself, I tried my best to get Reggie Bush, but he's no longer with us. So that was my ultimate flex player, man. That was my guy. And I also told you I was trying to draft Edgerrin James, but that just wasn't the case this year. You know? So I went with David Johnson. That's my guy. He's a really great running back. Somebody that's going to give me the consistent points that I need because it's no doubt in my mind that the Cardinals have an excellent offensive line. And when you're looking to draft a quarterback or definitely a running back, you're looking at that line. Even though they're not able to be picked, you're looking at that line to help carry them.
How about defense? You know who I got? The number one defense. The Texans. That's the one.
The Texans are looking really great this year. I mean, you know, you got Merciless coming back. You have Jadeveon Clowney's back and healthy.
Yeah, he is.
J.J. Watt is back and healthy. I mean, and the secondary is looking a lot better too. You got Tyrann Mathieu, Kareem Jackson's back, Kevin Johnson's back with a healthy season in mind.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm looking at that defense, and they're really competing with those Rams. You know, the Rams really built themselves up with Talib coming in, which just adds that veteran IQ that you need to really carry this young group of players to the next level. You just got another big end name out there with Arnold getting a big contract out of them. So looking like they're going to buy in on their defense. So look for those Rams out there. Definitely try to get them as soon as possible because you're going to see people picking them up as early as the 6th or 7th round.
Easy.
And now the Bears are in the conversation.
Right? I don't know if the Bears are necessarily in the conversation yet. Yes, they have Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack.
But, I mean, their secondary is
Yeah.
still not great.
Yeah.
Their front four, it can get better. But, I mean, Khalil Mack definitely puts them on the map.
Yeah, man. The Bears in themselves, they're going to be one-dimensional right now, but, I mean, that's a good dimension to go behind.
Right.
You got Khalil Mack. You know? But I'm looking at them, and they're a team that really needed a really good linebacker in their fold. You got Urlacher, who just shut down everybody. You got
Right.
people like Singletary that made their defense what they were.
And now they have the one of the new future.
The new guy and the
Yeah.
defensive player of the year. Just coming off of a year like that, you cannot deny that defense is going to be major. But I probably wouldn't look to them to be my main number one starting defense. I'm going to look at somebody like, I hate to say it, but the Steelers are looking a little weak as well. But I really like the way the Steelers are rebuilding these young guys.
Yes.
So I'm looking at them. I'm looking at people like the Jaguars to be my number one go-to defense if I'm going to be drafting somebody.
Jaguars, LA, Texans. How about, let me ask you guys, these are experienced guys in this draft. I'm the newbie here. How about like kickers? Isn't that important? Like I got New England's kicker. I think he's going to kick a lot of points. How important are kickers in fantasy football?
They can be important. I've totally won and lost games by the kicker coming in. because you definitely still have those games where it's all field goals the whole game. You know,
Yeah,
you can
so
have
I
a-
mean, that's an important factor, no?
Yeah, I would like to think so. I like a kicker like Chris Boswell, for example, another killer bee for them Steelers right there. Don't forget about young Boswell. Those guys are going to be seeing a lot of action because some teams live and die by the field goal. You'll see a lot of teams this year, sort of like the Vikings,
Baltimore
like,
Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're going to be really looking for that kicker to be their main guy to get those points.
Right.
So when you're going for a kicker, you're going to be looking at people like Adam Vinatieri, somebody that can give you those consistent maybe 13 to 15 points a game.
Right.
So when I'm looking at somebody else that could possibly be a major factor, is going to be your tight end. These tight end these days are going to be make or break for your team every single day, year in, year out. You're going to see people like Thielen coming out of nowhere. You got people like Demaryius Thomas, who's going to be major for that Broncos and Case Keenum. So how you feeling on those tight ends? Do you think anybody else going to break out?
I think Eric Ebron in
Ebron,
Indianapolis
yeah.
Colts. I mean, with Andrew Luck coming back and off of injury, I mean, I wouldn't say he's at the level of a rookie quarterback, but I think they're going to give him that kind of range. I think the coaches are kind of going to hold him back a little bit. And the quarterback's best friend is his tight end.
Man, it's true. I mean, Zach Ertz is somebody I look at with Philly. Man, Nick Foles used, and he leaned on him a lot during that Super Bowl run. And it's going to be the same way this year. The tight end position is going to be somebody that you're going to be looking to get you that extra, hopefully 20 points, because now the tight end is not going to be blocking anymore.
No.
He's a skill player as well.
Yeah.
How you liking those receivers? That's one of the big ones. We talked about Julio Jones a little bit, but you got a couple guys that have quarterbacks that are coming off an injury. You got people that have sustained and manageable quarterbacks. Who are you looking at that receiver position?
I mean, obviously, Antonio Brown, still number one receiver in the NFL. In fantasy, Antonio Brown is the one to have.
Hopkins.
But outside of that, DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller for us on the Texans. We're doing the best we can with them. DeAndre is still our deep threat. Same thing with Will. But they just have to have the numbers to support what we think they are able to produce.
Right, yeah. And that's really what it boils down to. You got people like Julio Jones right now who needs a little bit more money, according to him. He needs a little bit more money.
He got it.
He did
I was so upset with that. Why, but, to wreck the chemistry with the team, but they got right through it. They handled their business.
Yeah.
That was good.
Whenever you have an issue like that, you also want to look for that secondary guy. That guy is going to have to step up. We saw a situation with Jacksonville. They had their number one receiver go down, and everybody else is scrambling to find out, who's going to take that load, who's going to get those points. You're going to have to look at those depth charts if you really want to be a great fantasy football player. You're going to have to follow those things, man. Understand what goes in and out of practice, and understand what those injuries are going to do for those players.
And like always, this is going to be another big year for the free agency wire. I mean, you have to keep your eyes on the free agents all season, all year, because we know the injury bug is going to drop in on a certain team. We just don't know which one yet.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot that has to do with just people understanding that the NFL is unpredictable these days. You got the new helmet rule that's going around. You got certain players that get suspended constantly. Yeah. So when you're looking at to build your team, especially your lineup week in and week out, you don't want to just have that thing on auto set. You really want to look at other players. You want to look at their bye weeks, because you don't want to have both your quarterbacks out on the same week. So you're going to be looking at those waiver wires. You're going to constantly having to look for schedules and kind of understand what the progression and projection of the season's going for sure.
All right, now let's get into some sleepers, guys. I mean, sleeper picks. I mean, we've talked about some guys we're going to take in the early rounds, but I mean, we're talking rounds 10 and on. I mean, where are we looking?
Man, right now, like I said, it's a couple quarterbacks that are coming off an injury. So even though they might have went earlier in some rounds last year or the year before, you're going to see them going later. People like Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I think people are also sleeping on Andrew Luck. As amazing as these two guys are, and they're going to put up some good numbers, if they're at least half of what they used to be, you're still going to be scared because of what's going to be going on within the organizations that they're in.
And in a lot of leagues, both of those guys are free agent wire pickups. They're not getting drafted in a handful of leagues. I mean, I'm not seeing their owner rate be very high.
Yeah.
Because people are sleeping on them. For me, I'm going to have to say Adrian Peterson.
Oh, man.
I mean, I really think that, either he's going to be the main guy, or you're going to see him run in a combination with Chris Thompson and I think Kilo the second. I mean, these two guys are maybe going to step over him, but I mean, if Adrian Peterson can be the Adrian Peterson of old,
I think he's going to do it too.
I think he
really
can.
think
Because
he's
the
gonna
Redskins
step
have a good offensive line, and with Alex Smith behind center, I think the Redskins are going to be very good this year.
Look, man, we just see Adrian Peterson come back from some major injuries. He can do whatever he wants to do on that football field, as far as I'm concerned. He even carried those Vikings to a few great seasons,
He
so
can run.
I cannot doubt AP. I mean, he was a dog at Oklahoma. He's a dog with the Vikings. Whatever he decides to do next, whether he decides to leave the game, like certain people like DeMarco Murray, for example, but whatever Adrian Peterson decides to do, he has to go with his body and health in mind. Because right now, at the late stage of his career, I know he wants the money and whatnot, but for us fantasy people that value his effects and whatnot, he has to know
really
his
like
body
to
in
see
mind.
him produce.
But the good thing, he's also had time to rest.
True.
Guys.
Because he didn't play very much last
He
year.
didn't play him. He didn't play, so he's had 2-3 years off to really rest his body. So, I think the race car has got some more racing, and I'm looking forward to seeing
One more
it.
sleeper for me, I would have to say Cameron Meredith on the New Orleans Saints. I mean, he is a mirror image of Marquise Colston. Big number 12 from a few years ago for the Saints. I mean, and having Drew Brees still there, he needs another big target. Cameron Meredith is ready to take that space.
Yeah, man. Talk about another Saint, Teddy Bridgewater. If you don't have him on your team, be looking out for it because that man's going to put up some numbers if Drew Brees decides to get hurt or whatever the case may be. I know two sleepers I wanted to go into. I mean, the Steelers have two great guys, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep.
I don't think anybody's sleeping on him, but you better be watching out for that man's number because he's
Seen
gonna
him
be
going
producing.
rounds probably 4 through 6, really.
Yeah, for sure, man. He's going to be that another option, especially as a flex player, if nothing else. Then also, if Le'Veon decides he wants to slack off, James Conner. That guy's no slouch, man. You give that man the ball, he's going to be running upfield for it. He's going to fall for at least 6 or 7.
Le'Veon's sitting out right
man.
now. I mean, so Connor is a pretty good pickup. If you drafted Le'Veon first overall thinking that he's going to come in later in the season, Connor's a good pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to give you at least a little bit of what you need. And that right there in itself is what you're kind of looking for in the fantasy football league anyway. Somebody's going to just give you consistency. Because when you're coming down to the championship game, you don't want to be off by a few points or whatnot. You want to be blowing that guy out the water whenever you're trying to play him every single time.
How about a guy like the Texans that we haven't even seen him in preseason yet, but he's a sleeper, Coco.
Man,
We haven't even Kiki.
Kuti.
Kiki
I mean,
Kuti.
I really think
he might blow it up,
especially with Braxton getting cut. I mean, I think Kuti is gonna be the guy. He's gonna be the slot guy. Backup slot guy. He'll be our fourth receiver, right behind Bruce Ellington.
Yeah, Bruce Ellington. Or maybe, we'll see what happens with those Texans because I think Will Fuller's chances as well. I think Fuller's going to be able to put up those numbers that we need if he can get down the routes and if he can get down with the formation. Yeah, the health is a major issue. Yeah. So like we said, you got to be watching those wires. You got to be making sure you understand where players are going to be positioning themselves because injuries happen all the time in the National Football League.
Yep.
Well, hey guys, this has been the first episode of Armchair Quarterback, and we hope you guys join us next week.
We'll see you soon.
Global Sports Network. Stay in touch.